2-1-1-0.
This is AENN, American Exceptionalism News Network.
Okay, I can tell you a little story here. My engineer, his name is we call him the Wiki Man. Santos Vigil is his name. And he was engineering for us the night of September 11th, 2012. And then the next day, he emailed me after that show, and he said, look what they've got up on Free Republic. And what they had was this picture here in the corner, and that's the picture with the hand with the blood. You've seen that on the wall? Okay, this right here, this picture with the kind of looks like the American flag, was what the Obama presidency people put together within hours following the attack, and they had it up on their website. Wikiman went nuts, and he put it all over on Free Republic, and I called Washington, D.C. and talked to the Obama people. And I said, you don't go there. And you know what they did? They took it down. They took it down. It's now still out on the internet. They were not going to use that anymore in their campaign. Now you talk about deprived. I want to know that is deprived. Within just hours of our people dying, they're doing that. But they're trying to send a terrorist message. That's the way these people play. These are the 4 victims. I think Woods and Doherty will ultimately have some sort of statues built in the National Mall in their honor, because they will have gone down as the 2 guys who put up the greatest fight to save this nation. That's just my guess. So what did happen? Here's the timeline for the attack. How many think they're really up on what happened in Benghazi? Good, good. Then you can spread the word further too. I was talking to my buddy Chris Street on the phone, and Chris, you've heard Chris. He's my co-host at times. And we do a lot of really detailed research and stuff, and we were following what was going on in Benghazi as soon as we heard about it. And we got calls from our sources and said that it's clearly an attack. This is real life. This is real life. It's 9:40, I think, their time. Something like, what would it have been our time? It was in the afternoon? It was early morning. Early morning our time, I think around noontime or something like that. And I was getting ready for the show and doing some other stuff. And all of a sudden we started getting people telling us what's happening. So we start going on the computers and websites, and after about after the first hour or so, they say there's pictures. Great, okay. We go to some of our other sources, people we have subscription services with, and also Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera. You gotta love them, right? Al Jazeera was already starting to post up pictures taken by the attackers' phones right then and there. The attack on the second phase with the CIA place had not happened yet. So and you can see these pictures now. You go to YouTube and watch the attackers and all that stuff. All that stuff the president knew about, because this is what happened with the president. The timeline is 9:40, the mission is attacked. There's 2 separate places where there was an attack. First, the mission, where Stevens was and Smith was. They were there to attend a meeting or have a meeting with the Turkish ambassador. And what was it about? The Turkish ambassador was telling them, Putin, he's really ticked. And he's really ticked about the fact that you guys are sending off all these arms, the man pads, 20,000 mad pads, all these artillery pieces, over 800 tons you are sending into Turkey, and then it's getting into the hands of Al-Qaeda. Could you knock it off, please? That's what that meeting was about. It was a program by Hillary Clinton and the State Department to smuggle weapons that were leftover weapons. Actually, a lot of those weapons were brought in even after Gaddafi fell. Gaddafi weapons and others to be transited to Turkey and into Syria to be used by al-Qaeda, which was fighting Assad. Compliments of the money brought to you by the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what was going on. 10:30, there's a security detail. Woods and Doherty are not there. They haven't arrived. The security detail arrives for Smith and Stevens. At 11 o'clock, Obama is briefed. At 11 o'clock Benghazi time, which would have been about 4 o'clock East Coast time. He is briefed by Panetta and Dempsey, and a U.S. surveillance drone is put overhead. I'm bringing this up because the original stories for months, we couldn't get any assets there. There were no drones available. Well, there's this little thing, Stratford has this little thing, where you can look and see where all the Navy ships are on the planet at any one time. It's really neat. And you can see the aircraft carriers, once they get threatened, they get into this mode called racing. Have you ever heard of that? Any carrier people? It's really kind of neat, the way they do their little thing. Well, there were ships around, and plenty of them. So there's a drone overhead. They've got the pictures. They're seeing what's happening. At 12:07, the State Department sends an email to the White House, the Pentagon, and the FBI indicating that an Islamic militant group, Ansar al-Sharia, Muslim Brotherhood, al-Qaeda, claimed credit for the attack. He knew. At 1:15 a.m. their time, a rescue team from Tripoli arrives in Benghazi, and about 30 Americans have been rescued from the consulate by the preceding people. But Stevens and others are holed up in the CIA annex. Says at 2 a.m., Hicks informed Secretary of State Hillary Clinton that they need to evacuate all Americans from Benghazi. At about the same time, an eyewitness captures on video Stevens being pulled from the smoke-filled buildings. They didn't expect to lose Stevens in the snatch, but he died. And if you heard, what was her name yesterday? Stevens wasn't murdered. Eleanor Cliff. Talk about a loon. But that's what you have. Yeah. Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. 4 a.m., the attackers launch a full-scale assault against the addicts, dropping mortars on the roof. Navy SEALs Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Powers were killed in the attack. And that's kind of that's the major time frame. But there's a lot in the story there. So this is what Benghazi is about. It's about these 800 tons of weapons, including 20,000 man-pads. By the way, remember what the president said? We've wiped out al-Qaeda. We have them on the run. Right, they're on the run with weapons now. And money. They're forming up all around the world, and they're here in California. And we're paying for it. It's our money. And I'll show you how that works in a second. All sponsored by Hillary Clinton. Now, do you think Hillary Clinton has some issues going forward with this committee with Trey Gowdy? You know, don't make Trey Gowdy mad. That's rule 1. Rule 2 is look at rule 1. This is an important statement, so you see how this works with the president and his men. Stevens was a snatch and grab attempt by al-Qaeda to give cover for Obama administration, and it's the Muslim Brotherhood connection. They don't want the Muslim Brotherhood connection to come out in the general public. Nah, 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 nah. I just said it. And so many other people are now starting to get, I'm not the only one out here saying this. There's thousands of us at this point in time saying this and informing you what is really going on. And Russia was telling Stevens through the Turkish ambassador, no more weapons. And that's basically some of it. Now it becomes just, hide the football, right? So where was the president? And where was Hillary Clinton? Well, the president never went into the Situation Room. All we have is Dude in there. You know what Dude did before he worked for the president in the Situation Room? He was a driver for the election committee in 2008. He drove the press around in a van. Now that's a qualifier to be in the Situation Room, don't you think, dudes? Don't you think? Come on, dudes. Got to be light about this. I mean, anyway, where they've run into some problems is this, is that you have these memos that have been leaked that have actually come to the committee, and also, not only that, but to Judicial Watch through a court action. Judicial Watch filed a FOIA for all the memos from between the President, the White House, the Secretary of State, and Defense and everybody, and they wanted all the documentation to see what it looked like. So all of a sudden, these memos come out, and the House gets its copies. Well, April 17th, Judicial Watch gets its copies. So what they do is like all good attorneys do when they get duplicates of something that's supposed to be the same thing. They do what's called a side-by-side. Any attorneys in here? Just make sure I get the language right for you. But they do a side-by-side. So they said, oh, let's look at these memos. Same memo over here from the White House, and let's look at this memo over here, same memo. And oh my God, there's a lot of difference. There's just tons of difference. Wow, they have names on this one over here. And there's even some facts going on here. Wow, I wonder who these names are. But let's put it out to the public anyway. Now, it's kind of interesting if you take a look at the names on the memos, especially the Rhodes memo that came out right after, well, it was actually September 14th. It's interesting, in the real box there with all the real names, you'll have people that they're being messaged that are direct links to the Muslim Brotherhood. Doesn't get any more convincing than that, does it? And we have the names. We have 7 of them we're looking at. Other people, I'm letting other people look at it. It's all going to come out. This will come out.